So my name is Paul Botto. I've been flying helicopters for about 11 years. That has taken me from flying around the Washington, D.C. area, flying in their Class Bravo airspace, in and around regional airliners, flying around. I think there was 4 different Bravo class airspace that were stacked on top of each other, through Montana and the high altitude flying in that state, up to 10 or 11,000 feet mountain flying, into North Dakota, where the biggest challenge of flying in that area was the intense winter weather conditions.
What is the most common kind of air emergency that happens when you're flying in a helicopter?
From what we've seen, they're usually either chip detectors or they're bird strikes. Chip detectors happen when small particulates of metal are floating around your oil systems. That can either be just a natural byproduct of metal components rubbing on each other, or it could be systemic of a significant or critical component slowly falling apart. Either way, you have to deal with it accordingly to the system that's identified, and that usually means you have to plan for that system failing on you. It could be a tail rotor gearbox, it could be an engine, it could be a transmission. The second one, bird strikes, is just a natural thing that happens from flying low to the ground, where helicopters love to fly. Most of my bird strikes have happened at 50 feet to 100 feet. None of them significant, but you always have to wonder what that bird hit and what component it possibly affected.
Do the pilots and the tower crew follow any SOPs, or do they respond to each emergency as unique and work with the pilot to find solutions on the spot?
So a little bit of both. The pilots and air crew have an emergency procedure checklist that they always follow. For the chip light, for instance, they go through the checklist according to that system that's affected. Where the tower, they have a standard operating procedure of how they react to aircraft initiating an emergency in flight. No matter what, though, they will coordinate with the crash fire rescue on the ground, and they will also deconflict that aircraft with any other aircraft flying in the airspace, so they immediately have the priority.
So as an air advisor, how did you train aviation personnel to prepare for air emergencies?
As an air advisor, we basically trained how we did CONUS, where every time we briefed, we covered a different emergency procedure. And then as we flew, periodically we'd do an emergency procedure flight where we'd go through single engine procedures, auto rotations, and things like that. So we were always ready and had the procedures fresh in our minds.